I just finished Vox Machina Season 4. I watched the last 3 episodes, our 4th act. What was that? Welcome back, everyone. We are here to talk about The Legend of Vox Machina, episodes 10, 11, and 12. The Poisoned Ear, Let the End Begin, The Ascension. All of these episodes sent me on a roller coaster ride, and we are going to talk about it in this review. But before we get into it, I want to know, how did you feel about that season 4 finale? And what is the scariest thing you've ever had to face in D&D or outside of D&D? Just, it can be in life, because I think what we went up against in this finale with these 3 episodes was something that I did not think we were going to be going to. The fact that it led us to this point where everyone at the beginning is separated, then everyone comes together, and then we're dealing with the struggles of why people didn't stay connected, and this idea of the evolution of these friendships and where people get their happy endings, and then what does that mean for the party? I think that's a huge question we've approached this season, and we really deal with it in the end here. And I'm going to talk about that more in my full season review, just the entire journey of season 4. But for this review, we are going to keep it to the last 3 episodes. So let's get into that. So the Poisoned Ear is interesting because we start off with the revelation that Pike obviously is okay. Pike had the amulet, so we knew that she would probably be all right going through the portal. Grog, not doing so hot, in a sort of stasis where he's in the process of coming back to life. And of course, the rest of Vox Machina, minus Scanlan, is preparing to go in and get Pike and rescue her from the Whispered One, and also potentially stop the Whispered One. But really, the main goal here is just to go get Pike. And they're willing to risk the safety of everyone to do it. And what I loved about this episode was I loved seeing just how twisted Pike gets. Just how, you know, we have Gideon here and he's really twisting that knife. And I totally understand now why people said that Andy Serkis, they knew kind of who he was going to be based on if you've watched the actual play, which I am going to go back and watch episode 85, like you all suggested for Vox Machina. I'm still making my way through Mighty 9, so I will have another Mighty 9 video for you soon. I'm on episode 30. It's taken me a while just because the summer is crazy. I'm doing like 1 million things right now, but I will have another Mighty 9 video for you soon. And I will also do that episode 85 reaction. For those of you that were watching Vox Machina, the actual play as it was happening, I think a lot of people knew what to expect when Andy Serkis was cast this season, knew who he was going to play, and y'all were right. And not only that, but man, he was beautifully cast. Him as Gideon / as is revealed here, the Whispered One. And if you know who the Whispered One is, then you know. I think I can say it here at this point. I think it's pretty obvious. It's Vecna. And you might be aware of Vecna from Stranger Things, or if you're a big Dungeons and Dragons nerd, then you probably just know Vecna from Dungeons and Dragons. He's a big boss. He is horrifying to face. So Vecna is absolutely terrifying, and seeing that character appear here with Gideon, with the Whispered One, I think is just, you know, how do you escalate it after the Chroma Conclave? And I gotta say, bringing in the Whispered One, that was a smart way for Matt to elevate the story, assuming that we're following roughly where we go with Vox Machina. And I know there have been changes that we've made this season. I'll talk more about that in our full review. But for this, because, you know, I'm coming into this without having watched the actual play, what I will say is I love how everything that we built up in this act and before it really comes to head here. There's only one thing that I wasn't so sure how I felt about it, and we kind of go into it in Let the End Begin. Episode 11 really is building towards, I guess, the confrontation that we're dealing with in the Ascension. I think both of those episodes were absolutely great. I think that the pacing of them is just fire. It's going nonstop. Once we are here and we're all together in the same place, we have our heroes see Pike. They're trying to get to her. They're trying to deal with the Whispered One's, you know, main goons who are all special, and we're dealing with them with the daggers, and now this curse has come full circle. So now Vax is truly the champion of the matron. That's been fully realized, and we realize that the curse is a blessing in this realm. And Vax is able to use those powers to completely take out all these goons easily so they can't res, by getting rid of the Shadow Stone within them. And then we're able to take the fight to the Whispered One. Well, I mean, really, and I thought when Vax made that promise to Keyleth where he said, you know what? I promise you that we'll just go for Pike and I won't go for the Whispered One because that is how I'm supposed to die. That is what I was told. And I promise you, Keyleth, I really thought he was going to go back on his word. Just like we saw with Vex making the promise to Percy's sister and going back on her word. I knew that that was like, how do you deal with sibling fights? You tell your sibling, you know what? You're totally right. I promise I'm going to not do the thing that you don't want me to do. I'm not going to do that thing. So don't worry. You're right and we'll be good. And then behind their back, you do the thing. I knew that was going to happen, but I really thought that Vax was going to betray that promise to Keyleth and decide, no, you know what? We got to go for the Whispered One. And really, that was a decision that the whole party makes to do that in the episode The Ascension. And in The Ascension, what I loved is Pike ending up being one of our final bosses for the season. I never thought that this path we were on was going to lead us to all fight Pike, but Pike has been really in a funk this season, so I'm glad that we did something with that and that was realized. My only qualm with this set of episodes in terms of Pike's journey is that I think we didn't get enough of a aha moments for her realizing what she's done is wrong in allying herself with the Whispered One and deciding to turn on everybody else and turn on her friends and say, you know, you're not my friends. I'm going to fight you. And then go back and say, no, you know what? I'm going to join you. You are my friends. And let's take on the Whispered One. I think because we see everyone leave her and then we don't really get to see her in that moment of realization where she decides, you know, my friends' lives are in danger. And even though we've been through a lot and I feel not as supported in the group right now, and we haven't really fully dealt with that yet, I am going to go back in because my friends' lives on the line is the most important thing. Granted, have we kind of built that up through all of the previous seasons? We have. So it is a little bit of a nitpick. And I mean, I still felt so much emotion in these episodes. Like I said, tear stains on my bodysuit were real. I cried a lot. I had my tissues here. The reactions, if you want to see me cry in real time, will be coming to my members on the channel. And the full reactions will be up on my Patreon, patreon.com/vampex13. So you can see me cry in real time. I did feel a lot of it, but I just wish that we had a little bit more for Pike because everything else we've built up is so strong. That being said, the actual fight itself I thought was epic. The animation in these episodes, amazing. The theme coming in, the Vox Machina theme coming in when they're fighting against the Whispered One. And then when I think I know where this show is going, I realize I know nothing. I predict all of these things and I think, oh, I know how they're setting this up and I know how this is going to go. And I guess we don't need that vial that Keyleth made to cure Vax. I guess none of that's going to lead anywhere. Well, that was kind of a waste of our time, wasn't it? Nope. Everything matters and everything you think you know, you don't. And guess what? It doesn't end the way that you would think it would. And actually, I feel like the ending of season 4 reminds me a lot of the ending of season 1, where I thought I knew where we were going. And then at the end, there's this kind of like little bait and switch of the heroes save the day. Maybe they don't save the day. And where does that lead us next? With this idea of Vecna saying to them in front of the world, broadcasting this to everyone through Exandria, you now have played right into my plan. I have been planning this for 500 years. So if you don't think that I had a plan that was foolproof, you're mistaken. Everything that you have done has led to this moment, has led me here. And I had many different options for how I could have arrived at this place. You surprised me a little with how we got here, but this was all according to my plan. And now that you've cured Vax, Vax does not have the power to stop me. He is no longer the matron's champion. We have broken that connection. And in saving Vax and in saving Pike, and with Pike going to save Grog, this group of heroes and their connection to each other is ultimately what condemns them? What condemns Exandria to now having Vecna appear? The Whispered One is here. And I think that all of that is so cool when it's all explained, how the fact that they all had their happy endings, that was a problem for the Whispered One, and they had to bring them all back together. I just thought, wow, everything that I thought I knew about what was going on this season, I never expected that. I'm going to be real. I never expected that. And not only that, but now we have this situation where they're being offered the choice. Do they bow to the Whispered One or do they fight? And if they don't bow, Vax's life is at stake. And Keyleth folds almost immediately. And that hit me right in the gut. Because I know this whole season she's just been working to save this man that she loves. And she finally gets there. And it's finally come to pass that she's saved him. He's fine. And now at the end of the season, she's being asked to sacrifice her love for the greater good. And she can't do it. It's taken too much out of her to fight for Vax's life. And then, of course, the rest of the party feeling for Keyleth and also loving Vax fold too. Which I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe I was seeing my heroes kneel to the Whispered One. And then it's up to Vax to respond. And I have to say, I think that's the most Liam response I could have imagined. I think Vax responded exactly how I would have predicted, but I never would have predicted that we were in this predicament to begin with. So that was the whole thing that threw me for a loop. But Vax, of course, spitting in the Whispered One's face and telling him to take a walk, basically. I'm not having any of it, which leads to his own death, which means now here we are. But then I also don't understand because it seems like the Whispered One just dipped. So, and is like, well, you saved the day. And I was like, wait, so if they just said, we're not interested, the consequence is you kill Vax, but you're going to leave. I don't think that's what's happening. I think season 5 is going to be us really dealing with the ramifications of everything that was built in season 4, which I cannot wait to see. And I think it's going to be amazing. But that ending did confuse me a little bit. And I don't know if I'm dumb. Let me know in the comments if I missed something there, or am I interpreting it right that this just means that in this moment they win, but you know, there's still a bigger battle to come when it comes to dealing with Vecna now being unleashed and fully ascended. And the fact that, you know, the body of Gideon had to die to fully unleash what he was, I think is really cool. And I just love the drama of how it all ended. Man, it was a ride. And I had a great time. I think that was a perfect finale for season 4. Like I said, it captured the magic for me of the finale of season 1. And it just reminded me how much I really love this show. I can't wait to talk about the full season because this season was something else. And there's a lot that we need to discuss in terms of where I think it's setting us up for season 5 and just kind of where we've been with our characters this season and what I liked and what I didn't like, because I have feelings on both sides. And I also want to talk about some of the changes they made, which some of you and I have been discussing in the comments. So keep that coming. If you are an OG critter, I love to hear your thoughts on the actual play. I do want to go through and watch Vox Machina at some point, but I do need to finish Mighty 9 first. So it might take me a while, just because I do so many things. But I'm sure you will be patient and hopefully you'll be here for it. If you're not already subscribed, why not consider hitting that subscribe so you don't miss any of my other Critical Role Dungeons and Dragons content. I love making it for you. I'll see you in the next one. And until next time, friends, as always, stay nerdy. Bye. And let me know your thoughts on this finale in the comments. Please, let's discuss. Also, if you need more Critical Role content from me, you can check that out over here.